So as the EU Parliament election results are in, and Macron in France has called a snap election. I've been listening to the political pundits on the news in the European countries trying to figure out what Macron's up to. Now, he's only 2 years into his second term. They run a 5-year term in France. So he's been president since 2017. The last election was in 2002, so there's 3 years left to go. So why would he call snap election now? When Marine Le Pen, his primary right-wing opponent in France, the French people voted Le Pen's party in with a 40% majority within France. And of course, France has a multi-party system. I'm not sure how many parties they have. I'm going to throw out there a dozen, something to that effect. So why would Macron call an election at this point in time? Well, now it gets a bit convoluted. Oh, before I get into the convolutions of the French, I guess you'd say parliamentary system, I was surprised to find it hasn't been scrubbed. Macron graduated the Young Global Leaders Program class of 2005. And he is a WF member, of course. So, France's economy is a mess, as is any of the Western nations that's being influenced by the WEF, which is all of them, seems to me. So, here's the hook in the French politics. This election, for some reason, doesn't replace him. He'll remain as president. It's kind of like some kind of a legislative election. I can't quite get my head around it because the political pundits who are talking to and amongst each other all assume that, well, I guess they know how it works, and assume anyone listening does. So anyways, the election, Macron will remain president, but he appoints a prime minister. And now I've left my notes in the house, but the president does foreign affairs and matters of national security. The prime minister does economics and sort of in-country stuff. My lack of notes. But economics being the key part. So the speculation runs that in this snap election, because Marine Le Pen's right-wing party, far right-wing party, of course, is really like polling strongly and running strong in the whole political system in France, or in the public's perception, I guess I should say. So, is it a longer-term game? Macron will put Le Pen or someone similar from the right in charge of France's messed up economy, and in 3 years when an election comes, I mean, if it's Le Pen, I'll say she has a little chance of straightening out the mess he's had, well, since 2017 to create, and that'll turn the French voters back to the left. This seems to be the speculation. I don't know. Why am I even rambling on about it, you might ask, if you're still listening at this point, 3-4 minutes in. Well, back to the EU Parliament elections. Almost all of the countries in the 27 member nations of the EU went to the right. By and large, only the Scandinavian countries, oddly enough, I haven't looked into why that is, stayed left. Everybody else went right. Ireland, I didn't even know they were part of the EU. I apologize. I thought you would have left with Brexit. But hey, I'm just one man. It's not like I have a research staff. Poland, Germany, I think Christine Anderson's party. If you're Canadian, you should know who Christine Anderson is. Oh, Austria, Poland, Germany, and France all went very right. And in part why I'm watching what's happening in France. I mean, they're a big player on the world stage. They're ranked 7th on the GDP scale, where Canada is 9th. I think America and China are 1 and 2, and Germany's 3. France isn't, France is a big boy on the block, and what happens in France, out of the European countries, I didn't rank where France is within the European countries, but I'm gonna go out and say there's number 2 behind Germany. So it's important what happens in France. And, well, let's hope that the WEF gets a good thumping over the next while in the EU.